I've really been addicted to you. All of my attention I've been giving to you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. On my mind, I can't lie. On my mind, I can't lie. Pull you down till you dry. Pull you down till you dry. All the time, ease my mind. All the time, ease my mind. I know that you're dangerous, I'm addicted to you. I might rent the Lambo and go drive it like it's stolen. I've been living wild, I'm just going through the motions. Stumbling out the Uber, grabbed my hand, gave me a notion. Swimming in your water, but it feels just like the ocean. I can't lie, I've really been addicted to you. All of my attention I've been giving to you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. On my mind, I can't lie. On my mind, I can't lie. Pull you down till you dry. Pull you down till you dry. All the time, ease my mind. All the time, ease my mind. I know that you're dangerous, I'm addicted to you. I was sipping more for 2 years straight to the face. Champagne belly bubbles still won't go away. Last year my best man hit a stain with bad face. Now he's got a LB on the water's cold case. I wake up with pain sometime and never go away. Wonder why I balance to my knees.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for episode 15 of This, That, and the Third. This is your boy Hook. I'm here with the homie Shannon. Shannon, what's good with you?
Ain't nothing. It's an interesting time. I got my I'm excited.
Absolutely right. And as you can see with the ticker at the bottom, stroll to the polls with the D9. So today we have members of various Divine Nine organizations. I'm here to talk about the importance of making your voice heard, casting a vote. Tomorrow's a big day, election day, right? And ordinarily we have these podcasts on Thursdays, but Shannon and I felt that it was important to attempt to catch some people the day before. Hopefully we can maybe get some people on the fence about voting in general, no matter who you decide to vote for, get your butts up and go to the polls. So that's our goal here, is to hopefully convince some people to do just that. But we're going to talk about it and we'll see exactly where the conversation takes us. Now, Shannon, have you voted already, or are you like me, Johnny come late?
I voted on Saturday in Lexington County. Yes.
Okay. So I'm the slack one. I got you. Well, I'll be going after work tomorrow. I'm voting late because it kind of feels like I'm in the fourth quarter and my vote's gonna be the deciding one. So it's like a last minute jump shot. So we're going.
Your vote's going to turn South Carolina blue.
Yeah. Sure. So if the election goes the way I want it to go, then I'm gonna just say, yeah, that's on me. So yeah, but we'll see what happens, man. But we're gonna give our guests an opportunity to tell you who they are. So guys, if you'll go ahead and take it away, and Kimberly, you're at the top of my screen, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Kimberly L. Super. I'm just a small girl from Pomeria who's an educator. I've been in education for 25 years. I'm also an educational consultant who works in the toughest districts and has had a proven record of change, also recognized by the state superintendent. As you can see my colors, I will not say what I am. I'll let you figure it out. I am a proud empty nester. Both of my boys are out the house. Both of them are voters. Even my son that's in Romania, I made sure, he's in the Army. I made sure that he registered to vote and he did his absentee vote. So, and I'm a proud grandmother. So that's me in a nutshell.
All right, good stuff.
Good looking
Oh.
grandma.
Yeah, I know.
Hello, everyone. I'm Coach Sean. I too am an educator. This is year 25 for me as well. I work as a consultant to various capacities. Um, Father of four and a proud grandfather as well.
All right, good stuff.
Yes.
All right, Joe.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Joe Thompson, originally from Columbia. Of course, got off pledge fall 2001 at University of South Carolina, Aiken.
The real USD.
The real
Ah.
You never heard that. Oh gosh.
Currently serving in the 19th year in the United States military. Well, in the Army now. I started in the Marine Corps. I'm currently in the Army. 2 children, 2 girls. They drive me crazy. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's it.
All right, good stuff. All right, Alvin.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Alvin Staley, originally from the greatest small town in all of South Carolina, Batesburg, Leesville.
Oh.
I attended the real USC, University of South Carolina in Columbia, the ones that just beat up on Texas A&M this past weekend. We didn't lose to an unranked team. I currently serve as a supervisor for a company called Spectratel, and I'm just so happy to be here and probably to give Hook a little bit of hell since his team lost to an unranked team.
Alvin is throwing haymakers over there.
Oh my God.
All right, Curtis.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Curtis Hammond. I am originally from Blackville, South Carolina. I am a proud member of the Old Gold and Black. My profession is information technology. Yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
All right. And Miss Shanice.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shanice Charlemagne. I am originally from the U.S. Virgin Islands. I am actually Shannon's line sister. And I don't think I have to say which organization I'm a part of. And I actually am a consultant. I have my own consulting company. And I also went to Benedict College in Columbia, South Carolina. And I went to USC as well for my master's.
The real USC.
the real USC.
Okay.
I now live in Orlando, Florida, where I serve as a caregiver for my mother who has Parkinson's, and I have a 5-year-old son. And I actually have been involved in several campaigns on the state and local level, particularly in the Virgin Islands. I've done congressional campaigns, and I'm also certified by the CBCI boot camp. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much, Shannon and Hook, for having me on your panel.
Absolutely. Glad to have you.
Thank you for being here.
Brother Ashley, bring us home.
From the car. Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Ashley, member of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Originally from New York, went to East Tennessee State University. I got my bachelor's, received my master's in 2022, legal studies from Western University. Currently, right now, working acquisition, possibly or a doctorate program. I've worked with various other organizations dealing with civil rights issues, Prince Hall Mason as well. I'm happy to be on this panel, so thank you.
Absolutely. And again, thank you guys for joining us. And we're going to go ahead and get this conversation started. And before we do that, for the viewers, we want you guys to react, comment, share, and subscribe. Again, I think this is a conversation that a lot of people need to partake in. So without further ado, I just want to ask a personal question of all of you, and just feel free to answer in whatever order you choose. So for this election, how important is this election to you personally, and why?
You want us to start from top to bottom?
Just get in where you just whenever. Yeah. Since you have the floor, Shanice, you can go ahead.
Well, for me, it's very important, not only on a national level, but also for our local elections. We have a lot of our county charter amendments that's been proposed by our county government. Orlando is a little different than most places I've lived. We actually have a county mayor and a city mayor. I'm accustomed of a county administrator and a city mayor, but we actually have a county mayor. And I think it's because of how huge the county is and how huge Orlando as a city is. But there's a lot that is at stake as far as we have like amendments where the legislature has proposed to strike the public campaign where like they can get loans. Like, so say for instance, you want to run for an office and you don't have a lot of money, you're able to get matching funds from the state, and they're trying to strike that. And so we do have a lot of, in addition to the amendments that everyone else has, we definitely have a whole lot to vote on in Florida. And so not only on that, like I said, not only on a national level, but this election is very, very important. Like we have the abortion law that we're, definitely trying to make sure that we have the rights to be able to choose. And so it's just been a lot. And of course, it's exciting, with the ability to partake in having our first female president. We're going to speak it into existence. She is going to be our first female president because we definitely can't afford to have anyone else in the seat.
Okay.
This is Daniel Ashley. I would say this is a very important election. Again, looking just to reiterate what looking at the local. Again, we have two positions, but not more, on the school board. I live in Lexington County, so school board. We obviously know how important. So I have a 5-year-old, about to be 5 years old now. So that are going to be appointed for the school board. Obviously, my children's future. So that's very important. Sometimes you can't, so you have to support, and that's not and people. Again, it's who we want to vote in, and then looking on the local level, individual that was in a position on the Senate level that was here now.
Yeah, you're losing service.
Real bad.
You're breaking up really, really bad.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
much better.
Bring it in. But long story short, you had an individual that was there for years, so now you have two individuals that are not necessarily new, but new to the area, trying to get people to learn them there for 20 plus years. So going into the presidential, obviously, like have from an extreme to calm. And if you have missile function, you have opportunity to do things. You don't want someone to be erratic. You want someone to be calm and collective. So again, with this particular presidential election, who do you want in that place? And I think that's very important. Looking again from the local all the way up to the presidential election.
And I will piggyback. I don't know if I'm out of
Yeah,
time.
go ahead, Kim. Yeah.
But I would piggyback on that. Being in education and being, as they say, I'm a social emotional learning guru, and I work with different districts working on those 5 competency skills. This is a great time to understand what is good versus evil, what is right versus wrong. And I think we're at that point where we have to teach our children that is it right to talk about the Puerto Ricans? Is it right to talk about the African American people? And getting them to understand that, because now we're at a point where we actually have a government that disregards all of that. That what's right, what's wrong, and there's no one to look up to. So we have to create those heroes for them that will speak out and fight for our rights. I think we're at that crossing point now. I never thought that we would get there. I know back in the 50s and 60s, you had the different people who were against civil rights, but it has come back to surface now. So now we have to fight a little harder, and we have to teach our children differently. So even in our local elections, people need to understand that they take a big part in the education of children, the banning of books, just so many different things. The funding of education. If you don't do certain things, you won't receive funding. So this is a critical time right now.
I think this is a good time for us to remember we were told that our schools were bad, our jobs were bad at one point. You know what I mean? So I think this is this election is important because we kind of have to go back in time a little bit and think about, we were basically told we don't have anything when we actually do. So I'll just come out and say it. Am I going to vote for Kamala Harris? I am, because this is a time where, and as Black men, we've heard the most disrespected person in this country are Black women. So, are we going to get our act together? It took a lot for me just not to cuss just now, Hook, but are we going to get our act together?
Be yourself. Be yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying not to, Shannon, but are we going to get our act together and do the right thing here, or are we going to just play party lines? And if you're going to play party lines, that is always going to come back to bite you in the behind every time. So this is a critical time, because not only will this election affect the next 4 years, this could very well affect the next 12, the next 16, because the political rhetoric that we see now, I don't know about y'all, but the political rhetoric that we've been hearing at least the last 16 years has been extremely dangerous to folks that look like us. Our voting rights have been stifled, and we turn a blind eye to it. How much longer do we want to do that?
And can I say something real quick? When you say that it has become dangerous, even you said something about the political line. My dad was a big person of just vote straight Democratic. And you'll be fine. And you will be fine. But even now to our local elections, you have to watch some people. Because some people are in it for them and not in it for other people on the local level. So you have to keep your eye on them. Saying, no, not this time. You're not the one. You're not the one. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. So I'm curious, Alvin. You mentioned who you're voting for, and I know this is kind of off the question, but in the news a lot, you keep hearing about how Black men are not supporting that candidate. Can you speak on that a little bit? Because you have decided to support that candidate. So do you believe that rhetoric that Black men are not supporting this person because she's a woman, it's a female?
I'm sorry, Alvin. We're going to stay there, but Alvin, I want you to answer, and then I want to hear from the fellas. I want to hear from Curtis, Cole, Joe, and Daniel. I want you guys to expound upon what Shannon just asked.
To be honest, I think there are some Black men that aren't voting for, because it's hard for some black men to answer to women. Now, guys like me and Curtis and the Hook, we work for a cellular company. I won't mention its name, but we work for a company that had a majority of women there. The best supervisor I had was a woman, because I about lost my job because I was BSing around on the job, and she got me where I needed to be. So I think it's kind of I don't know what the complex is, but I guess some men don't like to answer to women. And then of course you want to try to use whatever path she's got. So I mean, there are some Black men that's not voting for her, and it's a dumb reason not to. I think she's qualified, more than qualified. We put a dude who had several failed businesses in office. You mean to tell me somebody who's more than qualified can't handle it?
And this is Daniel again. So for me, if there was any reservations to this particular candidate we're talking about, it would be history, the background. Beginning early stage, you heard that, she was, I want to say, what, district attorney, legal, and she had locked up individuals, Black men. And that was, pushed, like, look at what she's doing to the minority, to your people. So as a Black, you hear these things, it's just like, okay, what happens in office? Did, she was on that.
Then you breaking up.
Yeah.
So for me, again, it would be her history. I don't know if y'all heard me, but her history, her background, when she had the legal background, where she was allegedly locking up black people in her role. But again, as you dig and as you do more research, that's not necessarily doing her job. But again, until you actually that these myths will become obviously what they are. But you have to kind of do research. If you listen to other people and what they say versus what your research is, you're not going to vote. You're going to say, well, this person and all these people are saying these things based on their history. But again, if you look at President or past President Trump's history, in my opinion, it's a lot worse. So it's not say the lesser evils. I think that people need research on their candidates, regardless of their look and see, what she did. Look and see what he did, and then make your decision on who's the best candidate from there.
Okay. Curtis, Joe, go.
And I was going to say that I think a part of it, just like Daniel said, is education. Education is the biggest thing. From my conversations having with men that look like myself, why aren't you voting for her? And, why are you giving your vote to Trump is, stupidity. Oh, because he gave me a stimulus check, or he's looking out for men and he understands how men think and the man mindset and all that hoopla. And for me, I'm like, I need someone who can understand me as a black man, understand what it feels like to be a person of color, and then also just have that everyday life thinking, okay, what can I do to better this community that is suffering? You're focusing on how to better my community. So for me, that itself speaks a lot, because you don't hear that from the other parties at all. How can we benefit from you being in the White House?
Wow.
Okay. Koshan, Joe.
I'll jump in. So first off, when we talking about a woman president, I can understand why why some guys may not want to lean that direction, especially if you were probably raised in a situation where you didn't have female to lead out. You had your father there, or you played football or something like that. If you've been in situations where you're used to male leadership, or if you've been in situations where you not have any female leadership, I can understand. Being in the military, I'm used to having all types of leadership, whether it's male or female, regardless of race, regardless of culture. I had all different types of leadership. So for me, it's more so about, are you capable? I don't care, if you wear pants. I don't care if you wear a skirt. I don't care if your hair is long. I don't care if your hair is bald. The question is, can you lead? So, like I said, for some people, I understand. If you never had that experience before, you may not want to change your mind how you feel about who you want to vote for. So, even if it comes with different cultures, like, okay, I'm part of this particular culture, but I see the candidate of that different culture. I may not want to vote for that person because I'm not used to that particular type of leadership. I didn't see that growing up. I didn't see that in the workforce. So I don't see that as my, potential presidential candidate. Now, going back to the first question you was asking about, how important voting, is in this particular election. So for me, as I turned 18, voting was important. And the thing is, not only that voting for me is important, when I go to the booth, it's more so about my children and my children's children, the future. Like I'm pretty much good right now. So it don't matter to me who's president, to be honest with you. It doesn't gonna really affect or change my life. But the more so is be able to set conditions for my daughters and their families going forward.
All right, Cole.
I don't think it has to do with her as a leader. Like I'm listening to her agenda and I'm not sold on it because it's like pandering. She's pandering. And if you think about the things that she's saying in detail, she's blowing smoke, in my opinion, right? And she's repeating things that have already been said and talking about it's kind of contradictory to say that she wants to lower taxes for us and at the same time raise taxes on business owners. But the next time she speaks, she has an agenda to increase for black men. She came up with all these things for black men, targeting black men and having black men as business owners. So if you're going to tax business owners and then you're trying to help black men become business owners, then we're going to be the ones that are taxed. And she said she has a goal of securing like 25 million applicants within the first 2 years, there are only 30 million Black adults in the whole United States. And so you're going to get 25 million business owners. So things like that are just not realistic, but it sounds good for people that don't take the time to analyze what she's saying. And the whole public service loan forgiveness, that part, and everything that she's saying is already in place. But and when people jump on it, it shows me that they aren't civically aware of the things that are currently in place. They're just not taking advantage of it. And there's nothing new that she's talking about. Public service loan forgiveness. Everyone here, I'm sure, has been to college. How long has that been in place? Everything that she's talking about as far as small business loans, you still have to qualify. They aren't going to just give it to you because you're Black. And there are certain things that have to be in place. But it in my opinion, like I said, it sounds good. And no, she's not the president right now. She's the vice president. And I'm still waiting to see what has been accomplished. All of these great things, they sound good, but what has been accomplished? What can we hang our hats on right now and say, I'm so happy that this was accomplished over the past 4 years?
Are you saying that for Kamala, or are you saying that for the whole bite? Because see, I'm trying to bite my tongue right now.
Yeah, for the entire.
Yeah,
I
please
have been
don't.
trying not to
Please
say
do not
anything.
bite your tongue, sis.
No, I want to know.
I have been, because I'm listening to you, because I'm trying to figure out, and
And
this
as an
is what kills
educator,
me.
he hasn't
Go
said
ahead, go ahead,
anything
go ahead.
involving education itself. And when we talk about the local election, that's very important to me.
Well,
It
she's
is.
not saying she's going to get rid
That's
of the
very
price
important.
of education.
It is.
And
But
we
at the
know
same
that.
time, what measuring stick do you put her against Trump? I'm just trying to figure out. So we
No,
get
no,
so
no.
critical, and we have we get very critical about, oh, I need to see this from her and this. And this man has basically called everybody garbage, and we don't
Yeah.
measure him.
No, no, no.
It's like,
I don't care
go ahead.
about his persona. It's like if someone comes to your house to mow your lawn, do you do a background check? Do you do a background check on the person who mows your lawn or the
No,
person
we're
at the
not
car
talking
wash?
about persona. We're not
So
talking about persona.
No,
but I'm
but you're
thinking, well, just
measuring
listen.
her against an
I'm not
idiot. And
measuring
I
her.
have to say it. Yes, you
I'm not
are.
measuring her against anyone. I only mentioned
You
her.
just said it. You
I
Khalid
no.
Muhammad. You
You
just
Okay,
said
you
well,
it.
measured
ask
her.
the question,
Can I
Koshan.
finish, please?
Go ahead.
When you finish,
All right.
though,
You measured her. No, she cut me off. You measured her against Trump. I never mentioned Trump at all. All I said was the things that she said. It sounds like she is pandering. That's all I said. Now,
No, but you're criticizing a black female, which bothers me about black men. Like, you find everything to criticize and make it harder for us, and you make it easier for them or the white woman. So that bothers
you
me.
know you're making
It does.
assumptions and saying things that were never said at
Okay.
all.
Hey,
Oh,
Cole.
well then
Yeah,
you should
yeah.
compare her to
Hey,
someone
Cole.
else.
Hey, Cole. Hold tight, real quick. Shannon, what were you gonna say?
Go ahead.
now I was just going to ask him to illustrate to us what he thinks is right about the candidates that we have to pick.
Like pros and cons for both, and not just
Yes.
cons for one.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you, Sarah. Sarah. Thank you. Because this thing
All
is
right, dude.
No, and
bothering
I
me.
think,
Because if
yeah,
I could snatch you right now, it's like, what in the
no,
world?
and I'll,
This is
But
I'll interject
can
real
you
quick
point
though.
out
And I
one
think
thing that I said that's not true?
Hey, Cole, I think the frustration for a lot of women, specifically black women, and
They
as
just
a
want
black
us to
man,
support the black
no,
woman, right?
never feel
but I
protected.
hear it a lot too. But what happens is I hear people questioning Kamala, like, what has she done or what is she going to do? But then
Nobody questioning Donald Trump.
then Trump can get up there and he can, like, no one's even mentioning the fact that he incited a riot a few years ago. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff done in the
Or like
rug.
he grabbed private parts and
Right.
don't care. I mean, I'm confused.
So I think criticism. I'm okay with fair, like equal criticism. If you're gonna criticize one, I think that the same barometer should be held with the other.
Can we
So
say?
what are your cons for
yeah?
So I guess like what are your cons for the other candidate? Do you have any, or
Can we say Donald Trump incited a riot? He incited a riot that he wasn't even going to. It's
acting like he has no idea why they were there.
It's almost like yo, G, I'm gonna start a party. Yeah, what time you want us to be there? Whatever, I ain't gonna be there.
What I'm concerned about is how effective, right, will a person be? I don't care about a person's personal life and things like that. That's just not me. I'm not saying anyone else should. And what happens is it's like a non sequitur argument, right? Where we can't talk about the person's job, so we attack them personally. And of course, we can say a million things about Donald Trump. When it comes to um, the character of both candidates, on from what we see and how they both present themselves, um, Harris is like leaps and bounds ahead of Donald Trump, right? When it comes to their character. But I'm thinking about how effective will they be in doing a job. That's that's my concern. And as a small business owner, I'm looking at the things that was said that he would do during the presidency that were done, and
He tried
how
to kill us.
who tried to kill you? How did he try to kill you?
Donald Trump by telling us to drink bleach to get rid of COVID.
Yeah.
So
I guess you forgot
and
that part.
I forgot all about that.
Over here, like,
I'm gonna
which?
say this right here is that
and some of the things that you're saying.
it's amazing how this white man and white men are allowed, and black men are allowed to, if they mess up or if they do some sleeping with somebody, they can dust themselves off and go back and get a better job. But as black women, if we do that, then you bring up our whole history, which is a problem. And that is indoctrinated in your mind that it's okay to attack us. But then when you need us to come through, we come through. And
What is that based
that's
on?
the part. But wait a minute, that's the part that bothers me the most. Because the thing is, we're in a crisis right now. And no, Biden couldn't do it. But we was gonna try to let Biden do it. Kamala stepped up, and it's like, well, you know, she slept with Montel Williams. Who cares?
I don't care.
As long as you're a good person.
That's what I've been saying the whole time.
Let me go back to that.
As far as black males, if you're a black male, you had a good mother in your life, and I'm going back to Joe Thompson. If your mother was good to you, you know what leadership is from a black woman. You know what we expect. And every time we show up for everything when no one else shows up.
All right, Curtis,
So
go ahead, Curtis.
what I was going to say is like when you go back to your points of trying to point out things that Kamala said that she's going to do that's already in existence. I think the point that or the part that you may be missing is that they are already established, but her focus is the minority groups don't have access to it or they don't know how to access it or they're being overlooked or to give them a little bit more access to become business owners. So yeah, your statistics, you said there's 30 million men in the world, 25 million loans, but that's not just for men, that's of people of color. So she's trying to give more wealth, generational wealth, to people of color across the nation, not just black men themselves. Granted, black men is a part of that, but that's just not black men themselves. And when you're talking about other things that, what Kamala can, public student loan forgiveness, there are a lot of people of color that probably don't even know what that is. And by her making mention of that on a national platform, that allows people of color who are watching her to be like, oh, what is that? How can I access that? How does that benefit me, or what can I do to get rid of some of this debt? Or it's things that she's trying to focus on that the current administration actually is bettering for people of color. Granted, I'm just going to say it, white people do benefit from a lot of programs that people of color do not or don't have the access to or not educated on. So when you're speaking on her saying that these things are already established, a lot of things that people of other parties, the white parties, it's stuff that's already established that they already know. She's just making it known publicly. Listen, I'm just trying to make
But
sure
that's not
that we
what
have
you're
an equal
saying.
opportunity for people across the board based off of what you just said. That's her goal, is to make it accessible for people of color and those who are less fortunate.
Exactly.
And hold tight real quick. Jill, you had a comment?
I was going to, well, first off, I think when Kim had mentioned earlier about how, the attacks on females and the fact that, that women are always there for us when we need us, or, we go out and cheat or something like that, we dust that off and move on, yada, yada, yada. Listen, I'm telling you, number one, when we do stuff that's wrong, we're held accountable for it. I'm just going to make that clear, number one. Like, for example, let's talk about cheating in a divorce, right? You are held accountable for that. You mess up on your job, you could possibly go home and not be able to not only have that job no more, but difficult to get another job. So I just want to make that clear that it goes both ways. And I think the problem is it leads to us having like gender wars. We both need each other, right? So there's no need to attack a sister, right, when she's down. Just like how you don't bring that same energy to a brother when he's down. We're both going to have our down days. One day somebody's going to be up higher than the other. The goal is to be even, and have that shared understanding, that same common, threshold, but not attacking each other. And I think that's part of the problem with this whole entire politics in general now. It becomes, especially now that we have a woman that's running for president, right? It's kind of like, okay, if we can't get the men on board, we're going to shame the men into a point to where they're attacking each other.
Right.
And,
like shaming us into voting for her.
Exactly. Right. So
something's wrong with us if we don't. So we no longer have a choice.
Female, it doesn't matter her race.
It's either vote for her or we hate black women. And that's not the case. But I want to correct what I said was there are only 30 million total black adults in the United States. Total, men, male or female. So to say this thing about what she's doing for black men and looking for 25 million applicants in 2 years, the numbers don't add up. There aren't 25 million black men in the United States. And all I'm saying is it's pandering when you're throwing things out there and you're agreeing with me unknowingly, because what I'm saying is if you're putting these things out there, whoever, it might not be her, but her spokesperson, publicist, whatever, they know that we don't know. So they're taking advantage of African Americans not knowing. So when you're putting it out to say that, like you're saying these things that is being done for black men and is already in existence.
Okay, so I have a question.
Can you go back to answering my original question?
Yes.
Yeah, what's your question?
I don't have a problem if you have hangups with Kamala. That is not my issue. But this show is to talk about the election. So also please tell me your comments about the other candidate.
What would you like to know?
Your cons about
your cons. Like, what are your cons? Your pros?
Kamala.
I can answer that question.
Other candidate for us as
well. No, for him. No, for the panderer.
I'm sorry. My bad.
She pandered.
Well, I'm not a panderer. I'm saying that she's pandering.
So you're saying that Trump doesn't pander?
I'm talking about to black men.
No. What I'm asking you, are you saying that Trump does not pander?
He didn't pander to black men, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So
I think what he's trying to say is that they're using pandering as an
advantage. He tried to sell y'all sneakers.
Who?
Sneakers? Was that
you think he tried to sell those sneakers to black men?
He sure did.
No, those sneakers were for his MAGA supporters. He's not trying to and one of the things that he talked about that we kind of deny, and I think a lot of us have a disconnect because we're educated and we aren't in high labor jobs, right? But when he talks about jobs being taken away by immigrants, we aren't affected, a lot of us, because you all have degrees, you all have what you consider white collar jobs, right? But there are a large number of black men that are losing contracts. They're losing jobs as a result of immigrants.
So are they? Wait. So you're saying that African American men are losing contracts because of the immigrant?
Illegal immigrants are working as contractors in several areas. Correct.
So okay. So you think that they're losing it because the immigrants are doing a better job, that
Lower
maybe
wages.
lower
Lower wages.
wages.
Yes.
Okay.
Much lower wages.
That's not
And you have
happening to
Yes,
Black
but
women.
yes, but what
Go ahead.
about the other spectrum of the fact that most of those jobs we weren't filling anyways, or
That's
they've
not
been
true.
vacant for a
That's
long
not true.
time?
What I'm saying is you have a disconnect because the educated blacks weren't filling those jobs, but you have a large
No.
number of black men that are out of work as a result of that. They can't compete with them. They cannot compete with those wages. These black men are trying to provide for a family with their high labor jobs, and they're competing with immigrants that are living 6 and 7 deep in a trailer. They can work for much less because they don't have the expenses.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but but I don't think that just affects black men. That's the first thing. And
But
then
we're talking about black men. I don't care about the other people.
No, we are just talking about black men.
Yeah, and Cole, we gonna switch gears in a second, right? But
yeah,
I'm kind of with everybody else now. I do want to hear.
Ask me about the pandering to black men.
I want to hear
so you
one.
Can't ask about black men and then we're not talking about black men.
I want to hear one con about Trump. One con,
and
just
pro,
one. Just one.
Please and pro.
A con.
He's old.
A con about Trump is he has special interests, right? So a lot of decisions that he makes, he or people very close to him will benefit financially. But that's anybody, right? Okay. That is a con. If you look at Trump's economic trade advisor was Dan DeMico, right?
Okay.
This guy was a CEO of Nucor Steel. All Trump talked about is banning the cheap steel coming from China and all this stuff against China. If you don't buy steel from China, by default, who are you going to get it from when you're doing highway constructions and buildings?
Well, that's
Nucor.
That's the whole point.
So what's
He's
the
trying to get
That's
jobs
the whole,
back into the states to be able to have our own steel.
But at the same time, that helped us as far as having things done domestically, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's the whole purpose.
But people don't see
that domestically. But I have friends whose jobs are getting shipped to other countries all the time. So if you focus on just one industry, yeah, you can say, oh, Trump's doing great or he did great. But there are so many other industries out there. I'm an accountant. I'm in accounting. So shared services, special services. I have friends being laid off all the time because these jobs are being shipped overseas to other countries. And I never hear Trump discuss those. He discusses coal, energy, those type jobs, and they don't affect people, educated people like me, and that's just as important.
You don't think that Trump support those particular type of jobs too?
Trump supports those jobs. He talks all the time about keeping the stuff here and domestic.
I don't think he's gonna run down a list of all the jobs that he wants. I think in general he wants to keep jobs.
In
the States. He wants to give Americans jobs.
But you said that was a con. So what's the pro?
No, I said the con is specific to his special interest.
His
con
is
the people that are very close to him. Right.
And so his pro is that he wants to keep jobs here. Is that what you're saying?
But he does want to keep jobs here. Yes.
Okay.
And in regards,
so those are the only cons. Yeah, one con.
I didn't know. You asked. Y'all cut me off. You're not going. You asked a question. I answered the question, and then you cut me off.
Go ahead, Albert.
In regards with the pandering comment, in order for a politician to even get elected, they've got to appeal to their base.
Why jump on me when I said they pandered, and then turn around and say, yeah, they pandered? That makes no sense.
Well, what I'm saying is that Trump panders too.
We just can't say it about a black woman pandering.
We can't because if
y'all were in an uproar when I said it.
If you're a politician, you have to pander to somebody. For example, Trump was a Democrat at one point, which means he was probably pro-choice. Now all of a sudden, you're pro-life, especially when it doesn't affect you. So I mean, when it comes to any type of politician, that's what they do. Trump told the world, I'm not a politician. The very moment you decided to run for president, as crazy as an idea as that is, Barack Obama's words, not mine. As crazy as it is to even run for president, and you got to have a level of crazy to do it, you're a politician. So politicians, they pander because they need the votes. No matter what side of the line you sit on, You need the votes. I could have a daughter right now. I can have a daughter right now. If y'all know me, Hook knows how crazy my 8-year-old daughter is. She gets knocked up at 17. I'm not trying to have her have a kid. I send her to what is that, Planned Parenthood, to get an abortion on the low, and I'm standing in front of the camera, pro-life, pro-life, pro-life. Guess what? I'm pandering to somebody I'm pandering to this entire state because they're pro-life. And at the same time, I can be pro-life when I need to be. So again, politicians pander all the time. They don't give and in regards to the black vote, why is it that the black vote is only important in years
during the election
full of 4? Why is that?
But you know what, Alvin? I like what you said. So I'm going to say this right here with the pandering. Trump panders in this way. The blacks love me. The blacks. I do this for the blacks.
Who
the
says
blacks
that?
This and the blacks and that.
Is this 1964? Who says that?
Exactly. That's what Trump says. So he panders a different way, as if we are some stepping infected Negroes.
Wait a minute.
Period.
No.
Who that Negro on that stag?
I know, right?
He likes that watermelon.
Right. And I do want to no, and I love the dialogue, and I want to switch gears, but I will say
but I'm not
the
gonna
reason
say anything else because Hook will put me on mute. So I'm gonna be quiet. The rest of the time.
No, you good. You good.
Let me know when to log off and get off, so I can get off.
No, you good.
You good.
You're good.
You good.
I will say though that the reason that I'm not voting for Trump is that he doesn't have a plan. He said it himself. He has the concept of a plan. he said that himself during the debate. So he still has no idea. To me, he has no clear-cut direction. He just want to get back in office for whatever reason, right?
Still working on who's eating the cats and the dogs. Come on, now.
Right. And I'm gonna move now. I'm gonna move forward, but then I wanna Joe. I'm gonna get you, Curtis. I'm gonna start with you.
It's all good. Don't worry. You good.
And then Joe, I'm gonna kick it to you because
you mentioned something and then now you're gonna jump the subject. I had to respond to what you just said.
No, because there's something that we need to get to that we haven't touched on yet. No. What I'm saying though is so we talk a lot of all of us. I'm assuming we're voting, right?
Yeah.
Everybody.
Kind of broke up a little bit.
We have a lot of people who aren't voting.
Voted last week.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And we have a lot of people who aren't voting, and a lot of people feel that their vote doesn't matter. When you look at a state like South Carolina, right? We already know state's probably gonna go red. I mean, that's kind of we're not a swing state, so a lot of people feel because of that reason their vote does not matter. So my question is, how do we get people to understand that their vote is important, regardless of the outcome, regardless of who actually gets voted in or not? And Curtis, I'm gonna start with you.
So I think a good way to get people to understand that their votes still matter regardless of the outcome is, one, it gives the demographics of people who are voting and what the people are saying in your local and the federal state, saying, hey, I want this person, I want that person to represent me because they look out for me or whatever the case may be. And I think for 2020, when we had last presidential election, local elections, statistically, as a part of our political action committee, we looked at, hey, this number of African Americans voted, this number of non-African Americans voted for this party, that party, whatever case may be. So how can we push forward to encourage people to still vote, to say, hey, regardless of where you're at, regardless of what the outcome was, I still want you to vote because your vote matters. And our forefathers, our ancestors have fought for us to have this right to vote, and that is your voice, regardless of what it is that the outcome is. Regardless of what it is, we want to make sure that you still have that right to vote, because everything else is taken away from us. I mean, for women, people of color, everything is being taken away. And I think because I had a conversation 2 days ago with a coworker, 3 days ago with a coworker, and he was just like, hey, man, I don't think I'm going to vote this year. And I was like, why? And he was just like, it don't matter. I mean, whatever they do, my vote it really does not count. And I was like, your vote does count. every vote counts, regardless of where the outcome lays. It definitely matters, and I just think that just statistically looking, it helps us kind of figure out how we can strategically plan going forward. Hey, what do we need to do? Was it, after surveys, was it getting you to the polls? Was it educating you more on those people that were running? Different things like that. So I still think that's, in my opinion, that's the purpose of continuing to vote, regardless of the outcome, so we can still figure out how to strategically move or to educate the people or get them to the polls or whatever the case may be that it may be like in their communities.
I had a cousin that God rest her soul, my cousin Christine. She was there back then fighting for voting rights. She told me that they used to get she was knocked off her feet with the water, with how strong the water hoses were. Dogs unleashed and everything. So I mean, it's reasons like that why I vote, because we got to think, man. Our great grandparents, they're more than likely couldn't vote, and when they could vote, they probably couldn't. They probably didn't have the time to study on what their voting rights were. So I mean, guys like me and Cole, we can have different views on voting, but at the same time, I'm still going to say, yo, even if you're voting for Trump or you vote for somebody else, you still need to vote. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, again, in politics, the black vote is stifled. It's either stifled or is well cherished by the politicians because they need our vote. They know they need our vote. And when they don't show up for it, and then when we don't show up to vote, a study comes out saying on CNN or Fox News, the black vote, only about 23% of black vote came in. And then we're sitting there pointing a finger at each other because one person voted for Trump, one person voted for Kamala, and we're sitting there going back and forth instead of saying, didn't your homeboy not vote? Yeah, he didn't vote. Well, why didn't you get him to the polls? That's what we should be fighting over, saying that why didn't we get everybody else that we know to vote? Because we all know this circle right here. We all know that we either have voted already or we're going to vote tomorrow morning.
So do you remember the first? I'm sorry.
No, what we should be fighting over is why didn't we get everybody else to go vote? And
so do you remember the first time you voted? Who was the president?
My first time voting, that was George W. Bush. George W. Bush won that election.
So the first time I voted was Bill Clinton. And I can remember my grandmother saying, I haven't voted since Nixon. Once they brought Nixon in, it was horrible.
Tricky
bit. You got to vote. You have to vote. No, you can't just sit back and not vote. So just even bringing up my grandmother and making her understand and family members understand, it is important to vote. Not only here, but yeah, you did this work. I wasn't a part of the civil rights.
You be fussing about not having Juneteenth off or want to be off on MLK Day and you don't go to vote.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
But I also think Juneteenth was a gift to us.
We think you can.
All right.
What you gonna say
about getting people? I think that we need them to understand that our lives are impacted more on a day-to-day basis by our local candidates, by our mayors, our superintendents, school board members. And once they realize the impact that those candidates have on our lives, they'll see that, you know what, like Hook said, when they understand the electoral college and realize that, okay, South Carolina's a red state, my vote may not have the impact that I think on the presidency, but it will have it on who the sheriff is. So who the solicitors are and what their agendas are, so we can find out if I'm going to do 10 years for marijuana or not, and understand the things that affect me day to day. How does the mayor feel about opportunity zones? How do they feel about new development? Will the property taxes be too high for my grandmother to even afford to live where she's been for 3 generations? So those things are much more important. And again, education in South Carolina, you don't even have to have a diploma to be a school board member. Think about it. You don't have to know how to read. You could drop out in the 3rd grade and become a school board member. And when you think about large districts like Greenville, Charleston's the largest in the state as far as monies, with a $973 million budget. You have people that are over $1 billion annual budget that know absolutely nothing about education. But we're voting these people in. And again, they make the decisions. They hire superintendents who do nothing once they're hired, other than whatever the board chair tells them. And that affects our children. Not only will it affect our children, a lot of you are from small towns like myself, and we have a community school. So whatever happens in that school, in turn, has an impact on the entire community. So whatever we produce in the school 5 to 10 years from now is what we're going to have running our neighborhoods and towns and our communities. So those things are far more important than whoever the president is, because they can't do whatever unless they get approval from the House and Senate, and then it goes through this and gets passed and that, and then you have governors in the state. So we aren't really even impacted like that, except for somebody wanting to go to war, you know.
That's true. And
but
so
they
I'm
have to know
glad
the
you said
importance of
that.
the locals. Yes.
Because that has been my focus, and a lot of my colleagues have been like, "Why have you been pushing this local agenda, especially with like with our high schoolers and our college students?" And I'm like,
Right.
"Well, if we elect the circuit judge that doesn't look or talk or that can't benefit us, when like when your brother, uncle, or father goes before the judge, or they have to decide whose appeal is going to go forward, who you think do that?" They're like, "Well, who does that?" And so I think it goes a lot further as the fact that some of our voters or non-voters don't even understand what each of the local candidates do. And
Correct.
so, in a lot of these forums, we have them speaking to us, like the state attorneys and our circuit judges and all, our Supreme Court judges and stuff like that. But some of the voters don't even understand their role. And so I've just been pushing the agenda like, hey, like, let's get into these high schools and these colleges so that they can understand what the role of these people are, so then they can then understand how important it is for them to go and vote. And so some of the kids were like, well, should we just not vote for president? I was like, absolutely not. You should vote for president. However, we really need you to start reading up on who makes the decisions in your community. Who are those people? And so I'm surprised to hear this. I mean, I'm not surprised, but that's, very, very, very profound that they would have people on the school board that, like don't need to have a diploma. And those are the things I feel like we miss a lot of times when we're doing elections, those critical little personal touches that actually resonate with the community that we're trying to convince either to vote, to register to vote, or to understand that, yes, we probably can't do anything about the electoral college, but can we really? Because the electoral college are made up of some of those same people that you don't even know who you're voting for. So I do think that, it is a conversation that, just coming from an HBCU, even though I went to a PWI as well, I think that we do
the real USC.
The real USC. We do not concentrate, enough on empowering our people to understand what directly impacts us. And I think that should definitely be something that we engage in as African Americans, because that's our biggest impact. Right. I mean, obviously, we're losing the race and the population, as you said so many times, Khalid. But in our concentrated places where we are the majority, we still are not electing those that are there to help us. And yes, being a politician may be conflicting, as Alvin said, but we need to start to breed more statesmen that look and talk like us.
Yeah,
right?
And I think that's more so evident in like this. Because I'm from a small town as well. I'm from Allendale, and with the local elections there, you get the votes based on who you like. If people like you, or if you have a fish fry for the right people, then you're gonna get their vote. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily about what you stand for, but it's about the popularity aspect of it. And Joe, I think you had you had the hand up for a while. You got a comment?
Trying to bite my tongue, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Like the last thing that the sister mentioned about our population, we got to pick a side, because if we're concerned about our population, we can't be pro-choice too, right? If we want to maintain our, or at least be on some level playing field, with our population, we gotta stop having abortion as an option.
Right.
We're genociding our own damn community. But they're not going to use that as a slogan in their political campaigns, right? It's the big picture. It's the scene that's behind the smoke, so to speak. Right. I mean, I'm all for people having choices. I understand we all make mistakes, but the big picture is like you said, sister. We need more people. So how
do you legislate that, or do you?
That's the case.
Let people choose that.
Do you legislate that, or do you promote that with our children
That's a
to
tough one.
raise them?
Well, so for me, I'm pro-life. I don't promote it. I don't legislate it. You know, I run my household, you know, in a traditional sense. So that being said, yeah, if my child just so happened, so I'm trying to put the parameters in place so my child don't even get pregnant in the first place. My children don't get pregnant in the first place without being married first. So, you know, it's typically you don't just out of the blue come up pregnant, right? It's a process, right? So you and especially when it comes to a child, right? You know,
I woke up pregnant.
I agree. I appreciate what you just said because
let's seriously have the conversation, right? Because we all got children, right? So
the way you said
she didn't find a boyfriend on Tuesday and was pregnant Friday, right?
That's kind of
that could happen.
Well, just to what you said about her being married before she gets pregnant. If you're referring to her marrying another person of her race and color, that is not really happening for Black women, right?
What do you mean?
Most of the time, Black women don't have children because they cannot find husbands, or there are so many single mothers because they cannot find husbands. So in one place you say we should be pro-life.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's the brothers out here.
I didn't say they were out. I didn't say brothers are not out there.
They out there.
What's the excuse again?
Joe, they have about 55 check boxes that we don't check off enough.
They're
like 55 things you don't box, man.
They just not fixing it up.
Yeah, but where are the mothers located?
Make 6 figures, no baby mamas.
There's no way
it's about 50 boxes.
Get married and be able to have children.
Right, but it's 70% of us not married though is the problem.
Yeah, no receding hairline.
It's great. It's great that that we can acknowledge the fact that yes,
no stomach.
Everybody's not going to be in the perfect situation, right? But we are disproportionately on the opposite side of losing.
Yeah.
We are.
Joe, I will say that
the average child is more than likely is 70% at a minimum likely to be born in a house without his or her father. That's a problem in our community that we need to fix.
It's 73%.
I'm not knocking all of that. What I'm asking you about is the coin that you just flipped, right? You're saying you're pro-life because we are decimating our community because we're having abortions. And then on the other side, you said women, or at least you want for your family to not procreate unless they're married.
Right.
But do you know decimate our community because there are a lot of women. I have tons of friends that have never been married, that have never been able to have children.
Okay, let me respond to what you're saying. Right. Okay. So again, I'm pro-life. I would like for my children to be married before they have children. Now, if my child just so happened, or my children just so happen to have a pregnancy before marriage, yes, I mean I don't like it, but I'm a improvise. I'm gonna play the hand that's dealt, right? I'm not gonna put her out on the street, I'm not gonna disown her, right? I'm gonna try to hope that she doesn't make that decision again because I don't like it. I don't support it, right? If it works out for her, it works out for her, right? But the statistics, says what it is, right? So
what is the statistics again? Can you repeat that?
It's 73%. I know the statistics. It's exactly 73% of African American children.
The children are better off raised in a house with both parents.
But 73% of African American children are born to unwed parents, to unwed mothers.
Khalid, I finally agree with you. I do agree with that.
And you know, I'm a researcher as well.
I
So I
don't
try
agree
to
with anything
come
else
with
you
some factual
said, but I
information.
agree with that.
Yeah, I try to come with
I
some
don't, I
factual
don't think
information.
that. I don't
But
think
let me
that
be
it's a bad
quiet before
position.
Hook meets me again.
Right.
You don't think it's a bad position?
To the original
For
point.
73
It
people,
was,
That's the
bro.
whole thing.
That was
If
one.
we want to
73 out of
build our
100
community,
black kids are going to be
they
born
can't
without a
be
father in the house
pro-choice at
with
the
them.
same time.
No, I
That's the
said
bottom
what
line.
Joe is saying about
Oh.
being he's pro-life, but he also has this other side of the position where he wants his children to be married or women. That's
not the opposite side. The side is that we want to grow our community.
Yeah.
On
Right.
the other hand, how do we do that? We
Why
can't
do you
do
want to be
that by being
responsible for a woman's
pro-choice. So the side should be pro-life if we want a bigger community, if we want to expand our community.
We can't afford the community we have.
You
So
already
why
did.
do you
What do
want to
mean
be
by that?
over what we do?
Why can't we afford it?
Ourselves.
So
To preach
let me
marriage,
ask you
especially
this.
in the
What do you
If
mean by
I
that?
decide to strip you of your dongs, how would you feel?
Oh, say that one more time.
You heard what I said. If I decide to strip you of, this is my FN. If I decide to strip you of that,
y'all face is priceless.
Then how would you feel? My body is my body. If I don't want to do something, I don't want to do it.
Again,
so
sis,
we are pro.
I'm
But
not,
wait a minute. The
let me
thing
answer your
about
question.
this
Let me
nation
answer your
here,
question.
we procreate to build a nation, but we don't want to take care of it. We don't want to have universal health care. Canada, you can go for universal health care. We don't want to protect it because we don't want to do gun laws. We don't want to do any of that. We just want just have the baby, and then you come back and say everybody's on welfare. Come on now, you got to make this balance out.
So Joe, I have a
Can I ask a
question.
question?
I have a question.
Let's
do you
Yeah.
Okay.
do you think that do you think that the abortion law that was created to regulate the Black community? Like, do you think that
one could argue that because we do get more abortions than everybody else.
Currently,
I don't think that we do.
no. So we do. But pause.
Currently we
Yeah.
do.
Pause. So currently we do. However, that's
What are you basing that on?
The facts.
what?
Planned Parenthood. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Regardless if we're leading or we're second place, it's still
by numbers or percentage.
Of course, it's by percentage. And it's skewed. I mean, we already knew it's skewed, right?
But the fact of the matter is, it's still
we know that all
high.
no. So we already know that the ratios are. So the ratios are. So when you present numbers, when you look at the data, because I actually was looking while I was looking down to check to make sure that I was correct. That when they present all the other data, they present them in numbers.
Okay, guys, but you don't think we have an abortion problem in this community?
But do you really think that the party that is pushing? No, so I'm asking you, do you really think that the party
do you think that we have abortion problem in this community?
Not in the African American community.
Okay.
That's the first thing. The second thing is, do you think that the party that's pushing an abortion law is doing it so that we can stop making kids?
Again, me personally,
or that they would like to increase their population.
So, again, I'm not supportive of that party. They don't stop me from having children, but one could argue that.
So you think that they're just trying to stop us from having abortion?
Again,
so you think
I
that
don't
they want
know.
us to increase our African American population?
They don't stop me from having children, and they definitely don't stop me from having children for African American women, right?
Correct.
But again, one could argue that.
Okay.
You don't have to believe it, but some people do.
No. So I'm asking you personally. Do you believe that
for
the
third
party that's
time again? I don't know. I don't support that party. They don't stop me from having children, and they don't stop me from having children with African American women.
So just so you know,
that
answers my question. But the data that's presented is presented in ratios, and anyone on here that does data knows it does. It does matter.
It's apples to oranges.
No.
The matter is we have too many abortions.
Yes, but so what I'm saying to
you
is that
you just said it.
No,
yeah,
but,
there's no but
no.
So
I want to hear the thought.
How are we gonna go to community?
What's the thought?
So, but we don't have too many abortions. So when you present stuff in ratios, pause. When you present data in ratios, that means that you're doing it based on certain populations. So
okay.
it's
So how are we
so
gonna
for
grow community
me,
though?
no. So what I'm saying is
Right.
that the data is probably skewed because all of the other races,
Got
the
it.
data is presented in numbers. So normally when
Bingo.
you
Got
present
it. Got
data
it.
in
I'm off
ratios,
on the ratio and off on the numbers. The bottom
no,
line is
no,
how
no.
are we
But
going
what
to
you're
grow the
saying is that
community
we
if we're
have a
getting
problem with
abortions?
abortion. So if the ratio
Okay,
is
got
skewed,
it.
then
Got
we
it. We don't
really
have a
don't
problem with
have a
abortions.
problem.
I get it. I get it.
Now,
How
what
do
I
we
No
grow the
abortion
community
it was
and
where
it
no
was
we
it was
can
a
abortion.
grow?
lot. It was a lot of information given on both sides. Right now,
Yeah.
the one thing that Joe did say that I didn't even take into consideration, and I do see his stance because we talked about I guess not enough African American voters out there, but at the same token, if abortion does impact that, obviously. If those individuals aren't born, then they can't factor into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But again,
And the murder culture, the
right.
criminal culture, we're criminalizing and glorifying criminals, and when they're convicted felons, they can't vote. So all of those things, we're hurting ourselves. How can we grow our voting population?
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Let me
it's
ask a quick question.
yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
How many people on this panel know someone that had more than one abortion?
I don't think I do.
Plan B
I don't
count?
know
Yeah,
anybody.
I mean,
Does Plan B count?
No, Plan B don't count. It gotta be.
Right.
So,
Right.
wait a
So
minute,
the
wait a
fact that
minute.
we
So,
know
Joe,
enough
how many
people
did you
that
pay
have
for?
abortion, that's to let you know that just saying that's a concern. Or at a minimum, it's a concern. For me, it's a
Joe
problem.
raised his
But at a
hand.
minimum,
Joe, wait a minute,
it's a
Joe. How
concern
many
for our
did you pay
community.
for?
I'm sorry, man.
How many did you
He
pay
said he
for?
pro-life. He couldn't
How
pay
many
for
did
it.
I
No.
pay
He ain't
for?
pay for none. He
Yes,
said
you
he's
raised your
pro-life.
hand. Someone to raise their hand.
He's
No, I
pro-life.
ain't
So
pay for
my
no
thoughts
abortion.
about that is that I personally would never have an abortion.
Well,
Personally.
here's so, let
But
me say something, Kim, real quick. I'm so
okay.
sorry, Shannon. Let me say this real quick. I can't afford to pay for an abortion. Right? Some men, if you get pregnant by certain men, they're gonna have that child no matter what you say or what you pay. They're just gonna put that out there. Right? So you can say that, hey, I'll pay for the abortion. No, she ain't getting rid of that child.
You going shopping?
Yeah, exactly.
Child
So,
support,
but the
18
bottom line
years.
is, like I said, again, if the intent, if the strategic goal is to have more voters, we can't delete voters. That's the bottom line.
I
Right.
appreciate your honesty, Joe.
I think it's very interesting because we talk about I think it depends on what the conversation is, because there was a point in time in our society that we were getting on the Black woman for having too many children, for just having children so they can be on
Not me.
welfare.
We didn't. They
me.
did.
Now the
Yeah,
Yeah,
conversation
we didn't get on.
to
They did.
too
They
many
did.
Black women are having abortions, and it's like, what's the
No,
right way?
we never got on. We never got on the Black women about that. They
No.
did. Other populations did to slow us down. That's like now everybody. No one wants to be the minority. Your voice not heard once you become a minority. So they manipulated us into thinking that it was a bad thing. We grew up with a village. We grew up with multiple children. We came up that way. But now everybody wants this one girl, one boy. Oh, that's enough. And I've seen women make jokes towards one another when they have more than 3 children.
I don't think
Oh,
that's
I
the
couldn't do
only,
it.
I don't think that's the only issue. You also had those women having 10, 12, 13 kids, and they had men who provided.
Correct.
Where nowadays, daycare is $200.
People are married and still don't want to have more than 2 kids. Married
I'm
with
just
great
saying.
jobs, engineers, business owners, celebrities. They only want to have 1 child, 2 kids.
Yeah.
But I have a question for the ladies. One question for the ladies. And I just want to know this. It's something I thought about yesterday. At what point does a child become a shared responsibility? Like from conception on, at what point does the child?
Coach
Huh?
That was
Yeah,
What's
that's for
yeah.
That,
No,
that's
when you talk about pro-choice, because we were talking about pro-choice, I just wanted to know at what point does a child become a shared responsibility between the mother and the father.
Hey, we ain't going down that rabbit hole.
Mute him.
That's weird. Now, what and Shannon and I have had this conversation plenty of times before, and before I close out, I'm gonna say this, and Shannon always knows. I said this. If you get pregnant, if a woman gets pregnant,
yes,
if she's going to proceed with that pregnancy, hopefully she is able to handle the financial responsibility of taking care of that child solo on her own, because there's no guarantee that the man is going to be there. That there's no guarantee, and this is coming from somebody who was raised by a single mom, so I know all too well. There is no guarantee that the man is going to be there to handle that responsibility. But again, that's again, I went down the hole I wasn't supposed to, but that's a conversation for a different podcast, right? Now, before we close out, right, I do want to do a roundtable. All right, so I do want everybody to give one parting shot to the audience. Give one lasting impression, one final thought to what you want people to consider when we talk about this process of voting. And Joe, you had your hand raised, so I want to start with you. So give me a parting shot.
Thank you, Joe.
Ah, man. All right. Well, first off, excellent panel. I think we could have probably done this for hours, especially now that it's, within 24 hours before we actually get in for those who haven't already, get in the booth and cast your vote. What I would like to say is, again, when you do go to that voting booth, think of more than just yourself, right? Push your selfish pride aside and just think of what's, bigger than you. So in my case, my family, right? My family is bigger than me. That's what I'm going to the voting booth to vote for. I'm voting for the best interests of my family and the future of my family. That's just me. You find your purpose, but make sure you're there to go cast your vote. And from that being said, y'all have a good evening. Yo.
Good stuff. The real USC, Joe. The real USC. Don't let them take you different.
Right. That's right. That's right.
All right, Alvin.
Cut it out with that real USC hook. Just to let everybody know, when you go vote, think about your grandparents, your great grandparents that couldn't do what you did. Yeah, that couldn't do what you're about to go tomorrow. They walked and got beat up, kicked, stomped, so you could run to the polls as you should. So when you go vote, like Joe said, vote for your best interest. Vote for your kids as well, because you're now walking so they could run. So I mean, when you go vote tomorrow, again, if you want to vote party line, go ahead and do it. But again, if you're voting for somebody that you're not really down for, remember that's a vote you got to live with. But at the same time, if you're voting for somebody that you're cool, that you're really down for, then again, that's something you got to live with. So tomorrow's an important day. This is another make or break election. So good luck to everybody. Excellent panel and mob.
Shanice.
Hi, everyone. I think my parting words would be, please do your own research. I think that you should be able to make a conscious vote, not only personally with what, I think it is important to protect the right that our forefathers have done for us to be able to vote, but definitely do your research and just make sure that you vote for the best interests of, like everyone has says, yourself, your family, and your community. And like everyone has said on the panel, the national election is important, but please pay attention to your local election. Every point on that ballot counts. So do not just bullet vote. Please take your time, no matter how long the ballot is, and vote for as many issues and items that you can. So I just want to say happy voting to everyone. If you haven't voted yet, please run to the polls and just make sure that you cast your vote.
Absolutely. All right, Cole.
Try to become educated and inform yourself on all candidates on all levels, local and national. I included a link. It's called votesmart.org. votesmart.org, and you can type in any candidate's name, local, state level, national level, and it will give you the history, the bio, everything about that candidate. You will know what they voted on in the past. You will know what their agendas are, and educate yourself. And let's not try to bash or shame someone for having a different view or opinion than the ones that we have, because we all have special interests. We don't know what drives a person's vote and what will turn someone away. But whatever you do, please vote. All right.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Kim?
Is the mic working? Am
Bruh, I muted you once.
Hey, because I've been muted all night. So
that's a lie.
So no, I'm gonna say this. I don't think I'm gonna be invited anymore. So I'm gonna say all of this right now. Because I've been muted all night.
That's a
all
lie.
night. So the thing is, I would say when it comes down to voting, you have to think about, and this is a simple formula for me. Who can I trust around my children and my grandchildren? Who's going to make the best decisions for my children and my grandchildren? And that's the easy decision for me. Not to bully you, but we are in the game. If you've ever watched Game of Thrones, we're in the games now of what is good and evil. So I'm not swaying you, but just know what means good to you, what makes a good person to you, and just go from there. Because I don't want to sway anybody.
Right. Curtis?
What I'll echo is just like everyone else has said for the most part is educate yourself, make sure you make a sound decision, take your time while you're in there casting your vote. But also, I think one thing that we kind of missed just a little bit is making sure that you know where to vote at your precincts, verifying exactly where you're supposed to go and making sure nothing changed. Those polling locations are still open because as we've seen in the news, a little things have been happening across America. So just make sure that a quick Google search just to find your county where you reside, just to confirm where you're voting at, making sure that they're open and their times. And if you see something strange, report it.
All right, Shannon, let's get to
Oh,
Shannon.
it's my turn. Okay, so I just want to say thank you to all the panelists that came tonight to give their opinions. All the opinions are respected, but this is a very passionate issue. I know that everyone on the panel is very passionate about it. So thank you for giving your opinion. Thank you for being respectful. And everyone is invited back, Kim. Okay. I guess what I want to say is that, voting is very personal. You vote based on your understanding of the issues. You vote based on your family. You vote based on your understanding of your community. So it's a very, very personal thing. And I'm with everyone else. You have to take the time to make sure you understand how these issues and the people who want to represent you will impact your community and impact your family. So I think it's something that is extremely important for you to do is to make sure you're educated. Vote about who you think aligns with your personal values and your personal goals, because there's so much nuance to passing laws. There's so much nuance to starting programs. The president does not do it alone. You have to have the Congress to help you do that. You have to have judges that help you do that. So it's so many nuances to really understanding how these persons' platforms will actually come to fruition. So make sure that you understand how these people may impact you personally, and base your decision on that. That's what I have to say.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Shannon. And what I'll say for my hookism is really quite simple. And the comment on the screen, my wife just posted that if you're in South Carolina, go to scvotes.org to search your precinct. So if you're still uncertain on where you need to go to actually cast your vote, that's a relatively easy fix. We all have a lot of varying opinions, right? I think we all are going to. I mean, we're going to vote how we're going to vote, but I think that regardless of what direction we're going to go in, I think we can all agree that not voting should never be an option. It should never be an option at all. So we just want to make sure that regardless of which way you're going to go, which way you're going to cast your vote. I think the most important thing is that you do so. And the thing of it, as we say in the House of Alpha, a voteless people is a hopeless people, right? So it's definitely is vitally important that we have this conversation and that we go to the polls, man. And tomorrow is a big day. History is going to be made one way or the other. So we'll see exactly how that shakes down. And to echo what everybody else has been saying here, I know we focus on the national election right now, but I think it's very important that we focus on the local elections as well, because that's where the decisions that truly impact us are actually made. But again, you guys were a great panel. And Joe and I, like I said, Joe and I went to undergrad together, so that's my boy. So we no matter what, we don't agree on a lot, especially college football. But but we when we get together, it's all good. Alvin and I, former co-worker. I know how you get down, brother. Appreciate everything you're doing, and we certainly appreciate you. Cole, you already know you're a frequent flyer now, so you're always on. So thanks again. Curtis, my chapter brother, appreciate you, man, for joining this first time. Certainly appreciate your stance and certainly respect everything you're doing. Shanice and Kimberly, regardless of what you say, you are invited back. So both of you are invited back. So,
is Kimberly still muted?
It was Kimberly that said it. I didn't say
that. Look, I gotta say one thing before you get off of here.
So you just grouped us together because we're part of the same sorority. So you just did. You grouped us together.
Birds of a feather.
Kimberly's been mute the whole time, bro.
The best. But I have to say, because y'all keep shouting out USC, Shanice talked about it. Yo, BCBC, you know.
Yes, you know.
All right. We got to put it out there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I went to a PW. My apologies.
It's all right. Everybody not able.
Nothing to be sorry about.
Everybody not able. It's okay.
But this was a great panel, man. I do appreciate you guys. It was a great conversation that needed to be had. I really wish we had more time, but I didn't want to keep out here all night. But again, thank you guys.
We needed 2 hours.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, but thank you guys so much for joining.
Let's go for
it. No, but I really appreciate it. And for the viewers out there who have not voted yet, if you are registered voters, please get to the polls within the next 24 hours. We really need you. So again, thank you guys for joining, and until next time, we'll see you.
All right, hot sauce.